like to begin by telling you a weird hobby of mine. I enjoy inviting my friends over and seeing how long it takes before they have to ask for Advil. I remember one time in particular, I had a friend over. My mother was hammering on a shelf. My sisters and I were playing cards pretty loudly and pretty competitively. My little brother was watching his favorite TV show, and my little sister was singing Let It Go at the top of her lungs. Needless to say, it took less than 30 minutes and 3 Advil later before he was laying on the couch in a comatose state. Now, you may be wondering why I'm telling you this story, and the answer is because I love big families. I'm the oldest of 6 kids, and I have loved having as many siblings as I have every day of my life. They're my best friends, and I hope that someday when I'm older, I can have a big family of my own. But recently, a policy has been thrown around that we should enact the 1 to 2 child policy. And this would institute that mothers and fathers, as it sounds, could only have 1 to 2 children to help the population growth. I would like to tell you today as to why we should oppose this idea through 1, how it has affected China because they've already enacted it, and 2, why big families are actually pretty awesome. First off, our Constitution says that we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, children, in my opinion, are the perfect summary of that. They are my happiness and they are my life. Liberty, that could be debatable. But sadly, the Chinese people have been stripped of this privilege, and they have had the 1 to 2 Child Act policy in their country since 1970, and this has affected them physically, mentally, and economically. Physically, the women are only allowed to get pregnant once or twice. After they've gone through their pregnancies, they are forced into surgery for sterilization. And so many women have gone fertilization treatments when they don't need it in hopes of having twins or triplets or more for each pregnancy to get more children. It just as proof that it is in our human nature to want big families sometimes, and these women are not being given the choice. Mentally, it affects the children quite a bit as well as the parents. The parents become helicopter parents and overprotective of these children because they're suddenly so fragile and rare. And so these children are not being allowed to participate in things like after-school sports. And it has been proven at a university that did a psychological test that helicopter parenting actually has detrimental mental effects on children well into their adult years until they become unfunctional. Also, these people are taking their babies and leaving them on the streets. And so hundreds and thousands of these poor children are being abandoned because they weren't the right gender or mom and dad slipped up. Finally, it affects it economically. Since 1970, it has been proven that GDP has risen 4% since then. This money is being tossed into this program without organization or being able to control it. There really is no way to do it. It may look good on paper, but in real life, it's kind of a mess. Which leads me to my second point, why big families are better. From a first-hand account, I can understand that why I enjoy it, but as parents, as you parents who are out there voting to either enact or disregard this law, I can tell you that having lots of children is a huge blessing, and I've seen how it's affected my parents. My mom has been able to take chunks of time out of her day for hours on end because us children were able to entertain each other instead of her having to constantly watch us and entertain us. You know, if one sister didn't want to go play Barbie, hey, just go get the other sister and play with her instead. The older children are taught more responsibility as they take care of the younger children, and it helps build that bond to create better units of family. At least that's how it was in my opinion. The expenses are not as massive as the media makes it seem either. It's actually pretty affordable. But don't just take my word for it as to why big families are amazing. Take the professionals. It has actually been proven that children who come from families with lots of siblings are more socially apt. Hopefully you wouldn't be able to tell, but I fully fall under the stereotype of the awkward homeschooler. I was homeschooled for 18 years. Hopefully you can see that I am not your dysfunctional, socially awkward being, and I can say that is thanks to my siblings who, anytime I went into that chrysalis of unsocial aptitude, they threw me back into being a social butterfly. Finally, I could go on and on about why having so many children is so amazing, but let me share this one last fact with you. If you have enough kids, you can start your own volleyball team. What? No, I'm just kidding. Baseball's way better. Aim for that. No. But in all seriousness, in conclusion, the 1 to 2 Child Act policy should not be enacted. We've seen the consequences and the detrimental effects that it has had on China, and we can see the advantages and the blessings that us Americans have been able to appreciate when we are able to do the one thing that we were put on this earth to do, and reproduce and be able to enjoy our family units. So, while it may look good on a graph or a piece of paper, I can promise you these children are worth it, and we need to fight for that. Thank you.